The G3 is a 7.62A, 51mm NATO battle rifle developed in the 1950s by the German armament manufacturer Heckler Koch GmbH in collaboration with the Spanish state-owned design and development agency CETME. History. The origin of this rifle can be traced back to the final years of World War II when Mauser engineers at the Light Weapon Development Group at Oberndorf am Neckar designed the MKB Gera Currency T06 prototype assault rifle chambered for the intermediate 7.92A, 33mm Kurz cartridge, first with the Gera Currency T06 model using a roller-locked short recoil mechanism originally adapted from the MG42 machine gun but with a fixed barrel and conventional gas-actuated piston rod. It was realized that with careful attention to the mechanical ratios, the gas system could be omitted. The resultant weapon, the Gera Currency T6 hours, was assigned the designation STG-45M, or assault rifle, but was not produced in any significant numbers and the war ended before the first production rifles were completed. The German technicians involved in developing the STG-45M were taken to work in France at CEAM. The STG-45M mechanism was modified by Ludwig Vorgrimler and Theodor Le Paragraphe FFLE at the Mulhouse facility between 1946 and 1949. 3 versions were made, chambered in .30 carbine, 7.92A, 33mm Kurz as well as the experimental 7.65A, 35mm French short cartridge developed by Cartoucherie de Valence in 1948. A 7.5A, 38mm cartridge using a partial aluminium bullet was abandoned in 1947. La Paragraphe FFLER's design, designated the Carabine Mitrailleuse Modèle 1950, was retained for trials among 12 different prototypes designed by CEAM, MAC, and MAS. Engaged in the Indochina War and being the second NATO contributor, France cancelled the adoption of these new weapons for financial reasons. In 1950, Vorgrimler moved to Spain where he created the LV-50 rifle chambered for the Kurz cartridge and later, the proprietary 7.92A. 40mm CETME M53 round. At this point, the rifle was renamed the Model 02. The Model 02 drew the attention of the West German border guards, who sought to re-equip the newly formed National Defense Forces. Not willing to accept a cartridge outside of the NATO specification, the Germans asked CETME to develop a 7.62A, 51mm version of the rifle. The resulting CETME Model A was chambered for the 7.62A, 51mm CETME cartridge which was identical in chamber dimensions but had a reduced power load compared to the 7.62mm NATO round. Further development of the rifle with input from H&K produced the CETME Model B which received several modifications, including the ability to fire from a closed bolt in both semi-automatic and automatic firing modes, a new perforated sheet metal handguard, improved ergonomics and a slightly longer barrel with a 22mm rifle grenade launcher guide. In 1958, this rifle was accepted into service with the Spanish Army as the Model 058, using the 7.62A, 51mm CETME round. In 1956, the Bundesgrenzschutz cancelled their planned procurement of the CETME rifles, adopting the Belgian-made FNFAL instead. However, the newly formed West German Army now showed interest and soon purchased a number of CETME rifles for further testing. The CETME, known as the Automatisches Koch G3 according to German nomenclature, competed successfully against the Swiss SIGS G510 and the American AR-10 to replace the previously favored G1 rifle. In January 1959, the Bundeswehr officially adopted the CETME proposal. The West German government wanted the G3 rifle to be produced under license in Germany. Purchase of the G1 had previously fallen through over FN's refusal to grant such a license. In the case of the G3, the Dutch firm Nederlands Wapen en Munitiefabriek held production and sales rights to the CETME design outside of Spain. To acquire production rights, the West German government offered NWM contracts to supply the German Air Force with 20 mm ammunition. Production of the G3 was then assigned to Rheinmetall and H&K. The latter company already had ties to CETME, and had worked to further optimize the CETME rifle for use with the full-power 7.62A, 51 mm NATO cartridge. In 1969, Rheinmetall gave up production rights to the G3 in exchange for H&K's promise not to bid on MG3 production. Later in 1977, the West German government ceded ownership of G3 production and sales rights exclusively to H&K. Initial production G3 rifles differed substantially from more recent models. Early rifles featured closed-type mechanical flip-up sights, a lightweight folding bipod, a stamped sheet steel handguard, a wooden buttstock or a telescopic metal stock. The weapon was modernized during its service life, resulting in the most recent production models, the G3A3 and the G3A4. The rifle proved successful in the export market, being adopted by the armed forces of over 40 countries. The G3 was and in some cases continues to be produced under license in France, Greece, Iran, Luxembourg, Mexico, Myanmar, Norway, Pakistan, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, Sweden, Thailand, Turkey and the United Kingdom. Design details. The G3A3 is a selective-fire automatic weapon that employs a roller-delayed blowback operating system. The two-piece bolt assembly consists of a breech and bolt carrier. The bolt is held in battery by two sliding cylindrical rollers that engage locking recesses in the barrel extension. The breech is opened when both rollers are compressed inward against camming surfaces driven by the rearward pressure of the expanding gases upon the bolt head. As the rollers move inward, recoil energy is transferred to the locking piece and bolt carrier which begin to withdraw while the bolt head slowly moves rearward in relation to the bolt carrier. As the bolt carrier clears the rollers, pressure in the bore drops to a safe level, the bolt head is caught by the bolt carrier and moves to the rear as one unit, continuing the operating cycle. The bolt also features an anti-bounce mechanism that prevents the bolt from bouncing off the barrel's breech surface. The spring-powered claw extractor is also contained inside the bolt while the lever ejector is located inside the trigger housing. The rifle is hammer-fired and has a trigger mechanism with a 3-position fire selector switch that is also the manual safety toggle that secures the weapon from accidentally discharging, a OE fire or a A20 a automatic fire, a OE ZAR or a AO a weapon is safe, trigger disabled mechanically. The weapon can be fitted with an optional 4-position safety fire selector group illustrated with pictograms with an ambidextrous selector lever. The additional, 4th selector setting enables a 3-round burst mode of fire. The firearm is equipped with iron sights that consist of a rotary rear drum and hooded front post. The rear sight, mechanically adjustable for both windage and elevation, has an open notch used to fire up to 100 m and 3 apertures used for 200, 300 and 400 m. The receiver housing has recesses that work with HK clamp adapters used to mount day or night optics. The rifled barrel terminates with a slotted flash suppressor which can also be used to attach a bayonet or serve as an adapter for launching rifle grenades. From the G3A3 the barrel had polygonal rifling. The barrel chamber is fluted, which assists in the initial extraction of a spent cartridge casing. The G3A3 uses either steel or aluminium double-stacked straight-box magazines, or a 50-round drum magazine. H&K developed a prototype plastic disposable magazine in the early 1960s, but it was not adopted as aluminum magazines were just as light and proved more durable, as well as easier to produce. Standard accessories supplied with the rifle include a detachable bipod, sling, cleaning kit and a speed loading device. Several types of bayonet are available for the G3, but with few exceptions they require an adapter to be inserted into the end of the cocking tube. The most common type features a 63 4-inch spear point blade nearly identical with the M7 bayonet, but with a different grip because of its mounting above the barrel. The weapon can also mount a 40 mm HK-79 underbarrel grenade launcher, Blank firing adapter, a straight blowback bolt used for firing 7.62A, 51mm ammunition with plastic bullets, a conversion kit used for training with .22 long rifle ammunition and a sound suppressor. The G3 is a modular weapon system. Its buttstock, forestock and pistol grip fire control assembly may be changed at will in a variety of configurations. Simple push pins hold the components in place, and removing them will allow the user to remove and replace parts rapidly. Variants: apart from the G3A3 and G3A4 HK also built, the G3A3ZF, the accurized G3SG/1 rifle and the G3K carbine, which uses an HK33 handguard and a short barrel, that is too short for use with a bayonet or rifle grenades. The G3 served as a basis for many other weapons, among them, the PSG-1 and MSG-90 precision rifles, the HK-11 and HK-21 family of light machine guns, a semi-automatic version known as the HK-91, a sporterized model called the S9, and the MC-51 carbine. G3, original model based on the CETME model, albeit had a wooden stock and handguard. G3A1, G3 with a single position, collapsible stock. This design was chosen after earlier experimentation with an MP40-style ventrally folding metal stock. Excessive recoil caused it to be dropped from consideration. G3A2, G3 with new rotating drum rear sight. G3A3, the most well-known version. Drum sights, a fixed plastic buttstock, and a plastic handguard that does not contact the barrel. The handguard came in a slim, ventilated version and a wide version. The latter allows for the attachment of a bipod. G3A3A1, this is a version of the G3A3 with an ambidextrous trigger group and brass deflector. This is an official German Army designation, not an HK factory one. G3A4, the G3A4 uses drum sights and a single position, collapsible stock. G3A4A1, this is a variant of the G3A4 with an ambidextrous trigger group and brass deflector. This is an official German Army designation, not an HK factory one. G3KA4, smallest of the line, it is a carabiner, or carbine version of the G3. It features drum sights, a retractable stock, and a 315 mm barrel. G3KA4A1, variant of the G3KA4 with an ambidextrous trigger group and brass deflector. This is an official German Army designation, not an HK factory one. Models made under license: G3A5, HK assigned model number for the HK-made Danish version of the G3A3. It differs in that it has a silent bolt closure device. In Danish service it is known as the GVM/66. The GVM/66 was originally intended for use with optics as a designated marksman rifle, while the rest of the squad were issued M1 Garands. G3A6, HK assigned model number for the Iranian-made version of the G3A3. It differs in having a dark green handguard, stock, and trigger pack. G3A7, HK assigned model number for the Turkish-made version of the G3A3. G3A7A1, HK assigned model number for the Turkish-made version of the G3A4. HSG1, HK assigned model number for the Luxembourg-made version of the G3A3. Other military variants and derivatives. Denmark, GVM/75, variant leased from the German Bundeswehr/German government by the Danish government to replace the aging M1 Garands. Originally manufactured by either Rheinmetall or HK for the German Bundeswehr. The GVM/75 rifles are basically G3s with the old-style straight cocking tube as opposed to the later FS variant. The Rheinmetall versions lack an external selector lever and can be converted from semi-automatic to full automatic by the use of a special tool. Norway, AG3, Norwegian G3A5 variant produced by Kongsberg Varenpine Fabrik. A total of 253,497 units were produced for the Norwegian Armed Forces from 1967 to 1974. The Norwegian AG3 differs from the original G3. It has a buttstock that is approximately 2 cm longer, The bolt carrier has a serrated thumb groove to aid in silent bolt closure. It features an all-metal cocking handle and a different bayonet mount. On April 11, 2007, it was announced that the AG3 would be replaced by the Heckler Koch HK416, in all military branches except for certain groups of the Home Guard. AG3F1, an AG3 with a retractable stock as on G3A4. Produced by Kongsberg Varenpen Fabric. A retractable stock was required by certain groups of soldiers within the Norwegian Armed Forces, primarily vehicle crews with limited space inside, particularly where a quick disembarkment from such a vehicle is required. All versions of the AG3 have the ability to attach a 40mm HK-79 grenade launcher. AG3F2, an improvement of the AG3F1, featuring Picatinny rails on the receiver as well as the foregrip. Sweden, ARC4, Swedish-made version of the G3A3, with a buttstock that is approximately 2 cm longer. The bolt carrier has a serrated thumb groove to aid in silent bolt closure and fitted with a heavy buffer for higher number of rounds fired before failure. The rifles were manufactured from 1965 to 1970 by both Carl Gustaf Stad's Giverkansieresfabrik and Husqvarna Vapenfabrik, and from 1970 until the end of production in 1985 a Euro exclusively by Giverkansieresfabrik in Eskilstuna. All ARC-4s are adapted to mount the M203 grenade launcher. Sweden has supplied unmodified ARC-4s to Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. ARC-4 OR Optisk Richtmiddel, Optical Sight. This model is fitted with a Hensoldt 4A, 24 telescopic sight mounted via LHK claw mount. During a few years it was not issued, but it is now again in use by the Hemvärnsrnet, Nationella Skydstikorna. ARC-4B. In this updated version the iron sights have been removed and replaced with an aim-point CS red dot reflex sight mounted on a Picatinny rail. The rail is welded onto the rifle. Used by Hemvärnsrnet Nationella Skydstikorna. Iran, DIO G3A3 Bullpup, Iranian bullpup variant of the G3. Pakistan, G3P4, Pakistan Ordnance Factory designation for license-produced G3A4 rifles. United Kingdom, FR Ordnance MC51 machine carbine, produced by the UK firm FR Ordnance International Limited for Special Forces. The MC51 weighs 3.1 kg, has a folded overall length of 625 m, a barrel length of only 230 m, which produces a muzzle velocity of approximately 690 ams and a muzzle energy of 2215 J. The MC51 was manufactured for the British SAS and SBS. Only 50 weapons were produced, and all were reportedly shipped to the UK Special Forces. It is believed that none were used in combat. It was designed as a compact but powerful weapon for situations in which the stopping power and armor-piercing capabilities of 9A, 19mm parabellum round were inadequate. There were 3 variants. The first was the standard MC51 model with a SEF trigger group and retractable stock. The second was the MC51S, which was a suppressed model that came fitted with an integral silencer like the MP5SD and came with either a fixed or retractable stock. It was issued exclusively to the SBS. The MC51T was a tactical model with a 3-round burst limiter, rather than a full auto setting, and a retractable stock. In a few years they were replaced by the Heckler Koch HK53 carbine. Another UK-based company called Imperial Defence Services Limited absorbed FR Ordnance and continues to market the MC51 standard variant. Specialized G3 types, G3 TGS. This is simply a G3 with a 40mm HK-79 underbarrel grenade launcher. TGS stands for Tragburst Granat System, G3A3ZF. This is a rifle issued with a claw-on-rail scope bracket and a 4x24mm Hensoldt scope. The ZF stands for Zoffenruhe telescopic sight. G3SG/1, an accurized variant of the G3. The SG stands for Schara 1/4 Zenja, or sharpshooting rifle. The rifles were individually selected from the production line for their accuracy and then modified. a Zeiss 1.5-6x variable power telescopic sight was added using an HK claw mount attached to the receiver. The stock was extended slightly compared to the standard G3 fixed stock and comes with a heavy, dual-stage buffer and adjustable cheek rest. A special set trigger group was added for a crisp trigger pull of 1 lb. Automatic fire was retained. MSG3, a variant featuring the newer scope mount that is found on only a few of the Heckler & Koch rifles, as compared to the more conventional claw mounts, though the claw mounting points remain on the receiver. This newer scope mount does not allow the use of the open sights with the mount in place, as is the case with a more conventional claw mount. PSG-1, a free-floating barrel semi-auto only version of the G3 with numerous other upgrades and such to meet the necessities of police sniper units. This rifle is famous for its accuracy and comfort, but infamous for its price and inability to be deployed because some upgrades made the rifle too fragile. MSG-90, a somewhat cheaper version of the PSG-1 modified for military applications. HK-32, an experimental variant of the rifle chambered for the Soviet 7.62x39mm 43 cartridge. It was never adopted by any country. Law enforcement and civilian models, G3A1. The terminology used by custom gunsmiths and importers for imported semi-automatic G3 weapons with an aftermarket side-folding stock. This is not part of official HK nomenclature. HK-41. The HK-41 is a semi-automatic version of the G3 that was marketed to law enforcement. Limited sales at home and U.S. import restrictions and firearms regulations led this weapon to be dropped from HK's product line quickly, and it was replaced by the HK-91. Fleming Arms HK-51. Contrary to popular belief, the HK-51 is not made by H&K, being a creation of the American Class II manufacturing aftermarket. The HK-51 has no real standards but is usually a cut-down and modified G3A3 or its semi-automatic clones, the HK-41 and HK-91, and modified to take MP5 furniture and accessories. It is usually fitted with a collapsible stock. With a 211 ohm long barrel. It is a tiny 589 ohm with the stock retracted and 780 ohm with the stock extended. The first commercial version was by Bill Fleming of Fleming Arms and existed before Heckler & Koch made the HK-53. HK-91. The HK-91 is a semi-automatic version of the G3 similar to the HK-41, also marketed to civilians. However, in order to comply with U.S. firearm regulations, a number of modifications to the HK-91 were made that do not appear on the first pattern HK-41. Internal parts that could allow fully automatic fire were removed. A shelf was welded onto the receiver where the pushpin of the trigger pack would normally go, to prevent installation of a fully automatic trigger pack. This did not allow the use of the paddle-style magazine release, and so the magazine release button on the right side of the magazine well must be used instead. It is otherwise identical to the G3A3 per 4. Importation into the United States began in 1974 and ceased in 1989, with some 48,000 rifles being imported. HK-911. The HK-911 was an HK-91A2 with the flash hider removed and the receiver re-stamped with an extra one to comply with the U.S. importation ban of 1989. The new designation theoretically made it legally immune to the import ban, as no HK-911 rifles were mentioned on the list of banned guns. However, the later banning of several paramilitary features on the HK-911 made it illegal. S9. These variants of the HK-91ZF were created to comply with the semi-auto import ban of 1989, which included all variants of the HK-91. They differed from the HK-91 in that they had their flash hiders removed and featured a smooth faux end that lacked the bipod attachment point. The S9 series were banned from importation to the United States by President Clinton in 1997 because they could accept standard capacity magazines. The S9 was an HK-91A2ZF with a pistol grip and buttstock replaced with a one-piece thumbhole stock. S9, or target, model was an HK-91A2ZF with the trigger replaced with the PSG-1 model, the pistol grip replaced with an ergonomic PSG-1 grip and the buttstock replaced with an MSG-90 model. S9, or target competition, model was an HK91A2ZF with a trigger group, pistol grip and buttstock derived from the PSG-1. Other manufacturers, PTR91 series. Additionally, JLD started manufacturing semi-automatic copies of the HK-G3 called the PTR91 in the United States. They used tooling from the FMP Arms factory in Portugal to build the rifles. SAR-3, semi-automatic copy of HK-91 made by EBO in Greece and imported into the United States by Springfield Armory. SAR-8, post-ban version of SAR-3, modified to comply with import restrictions. Users: a Angola, an Argentina, Grupo Heckler Koch N. A Bahrain, a Bangladesh, manufactured by the Bangladesh Ordnance Factory. A Bolivia, a Brunei, a Burkina Faso, a Burundi, a Chad, a Chile, a Colombia, originally used copies made by IMI and Indumil. Replaced in service by IMI Galang. A Kartidva, a Croatia, a Cyprus, a Denmark, G3A5, as the Jiva model 1966. Another variant, designated Jiva model 1975, was leased from the German government. All G3s in Danish service are being replaced by the Dimarco C7, and Dimarco C8. A Djibouti, a Dominican Republic, an El Salvador, a Estonia, uses the ARC-4 and a G3F2 variant. A Ethiopia, a Gabon, a Germany, used by the German Army from the 1950s until the mid-1990s as the primary service rifle. Originally to be replaced by the HKG-41 and HKG-11, post-reunification budget cuts forced the procurement of the HKG-36 instead. Large numbers still in storage, and is used in overseas deployment as a designated marksman rifle. Some variants still in use by border guards and police forces. A Ghana, a Greece, the HKG-3A3 replaced the American M1 Garand in the late 1970s and manufactured under license by Eliniki Biomyania Oplon. A Guyana, a Haiti, an Iceland, a Indonesia. Indonesian Air Force Special Forces used the G3 as their standard weapon since the early 60s during the counter-terrorist campaign in West Irian. It was replaced by the Colt M16A3. The G3 is currently used in reserve and training units. Iran, manufactured locally by Defense Industries Organization. A bullpup variant is called the G3A3. Iraq, an Ireland, a Jordan, a Kenya, a Latvia, ARC-4 variant used by Latvian National Guard. A Lebanon, a Libya, a Lithuania, ARC-4 variant was used by the Lithuanian Armed Forces. A Malawi, a Malaysia, G3SG1 variant. A Mauritania, a Mexico made under license by DIM and EGFD, slowly being replaced by the FX05 Xukotal. A Morocco, a Myanmar, a Niger, a Nigeria, produced under license by Defense Industries Corporation. A Norway, a G3 variant was manufactured locally by Norsk Forsvarstechnology. Has been replaced by the Heckler Koch HK416. The AG3 is still in use by the National Guard Heimevenet, except the rapid response units. Production of the AG3 ended in 1974. A Pakistan, locally produced by Pakistan Ordnance Factories in G3P4 designation. A Paraguay, a Peru, a Philippines, a Portugal, made under license by Fabrica de Bras Seccionado de Prata as the FMPM/961 and FMPM/963. A Qatar, a Rhodesia, a Rwanda, a Saudi Arabia, made under license by the Military Industries Corporation, Al-Khdj Arsenal. A Senegal, a Somalia, a South Africa, standard issue rifle of the South Africa Marine Corps and Air Force until it was replaced by the R4 assault rifle in the 1980s. A Sudan, made under license by Military Industry Corporation as the Dinar. A Sweden, made by three manufacturers, Heckler & Koch in Germany, and under license by Husqvarna Wapenfabrik and Carl Gustaf Giverkarency which was later renamed to Fahrparagraph Renade Fabrikswerken as the ARC 4. Two subvariants are known to exist, one equipped with a rail and aim-point sight and the other with a 4x magnifying optic, the Hensoldt ZF4A, 24. It has since been replaced by the ARC 5 in the regular Army. ARC 4B and ARC 4OR, sometimes in combination with the M203 grenade launcher, is still in use in Hemvakarency RNET a Euronationale Skydstikorna. A Tanzania, a Togo, a Turkey, made under license by Makina Vakimaya Ender 1 Stricycoromu as the G3A7 and G3A7A1. Being replaced by MKEKMPT. A Uganda, a United Arab Emirates, a United Kingdom, the G3KA4 was designated L100A1 by the British Army. These were most likely fabricated from receivers produced locally under license, along with G3A3/4s, at the Royal Small Arms Factory, Enfield. It was originally used by the SAS and 14 Intelligence Company in Northern Ireland for vehicle-carried raids and counter-gang operations. Now phased out and replaced by the HK417. A Zaire, a Zambia, a Zimbabwe, see also, List of battle rifles, Table of handgun and rifle cartridges, references, notes. Bibliography. External links, Buddy Hinton Collection /HK, HK Museum, G3 Rifle Variations, Modern Firearms, Heckler & Koch G3 Disassembled, Heckler & Koch G3 Armorer's Manual, video of operation on YouTube.